What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and absolutely brutal news for Disney as they rolled out their new, very sensitive, very the voice of a new generation. I mean, for modern audiences, the new ride at the Disney theme park after 12 people worldwide were upset about Splash Mountain, and it's been a complete unmitigated disaster. The thing is breaking we're going to take a look at that. We're also going to look at the Disney stock quietly, while nobody's been looking, has been plummeting. And the reason for that is not quite as complicated as many people would see. But let's start with the hilarious backfire of this woke ride. So the politics of Disney's new theme park ride, got to have that, right? Of course, People's Color was at the center of the dramatic transformation of Disney's popular Splash Mountain ride, which was based on the 1946 movie Song of the South. The film, long beloved by many white Disney fans, but deeply offensive to many African Americans, began a new water ride on Friday featuring the studio's very first African American princess. So you made one side mad, and then to make it up to them, you just worship the other side. It's, how about it's so dumb. Anyway, the made-over flume ride, now called Tiana's Bayou Adventure, based on the 2009 animated feature The Princess and the Frog, set in New Orleans' French Quarter. The movie focused on voodoo as a central narrative component. Years in the making, the new ride cost $150 million. Is that going to make more? Let me ask this to my black viewers, of which I know there are at least some. What do you think would you have preferred? The old ride stays the same and it doesn't cost $26 for a cheeseburger, or a $150 million update to a ride that your children would definitely never have been offended by? I mean, the cost of going to the park, the inflation of the food, people can't even afford to go there, right? And people can't even afford to go there. But Disney spent $150 million because a few people online were like, "Mom, it's offensive." Of course, in addition to various, so all these people, bend over backwards to use their gender studies degree to talk about how offended they are. Let's check in on the stock. Oops. Disney's down $1.3% today. Oops. It's down nearly 5% in the last 5 days. Oops. Down 4.6% in the last 6 months. Now, over 6 months, it's still up just a little. Just a little. Just a little. Down 32% over the last 5 years. The stock took a sharp downturn here on Friday. There was a massive sell-off, and people are wondering exactly why that is. Well, let's take a look at the article. Oh, yeah, first we got to talk about the ride. Tiana's Bayou Adventure has done, quote, several in-show exits today. The ride keeps breaking down, and guests must be escorted off by cast members with work lights on. Credit to the channel Farmer Readaville for this footage that confirms what I was hearing.
Well, this was our second lap, and the work lights came on, and we stopped at this point, and we've been here about 5 minutes, and they just turned off the music and said on the PA that cast members will be by to evacuate us momentarily. So we're going to get evacuated off Tiana's Splash Mountain Bayou Adventure.
Whoops. $150 million breaking down nonstop. Now, I don't know how often the previous ride would break down, but Disney has a major problem. Captain America, quote, Brave New World, has a budget between $350 and $375 million. This is a major problem for Disney. Why? Let's just call it 400 million for easy math, right? Double it to include marketing. So the movie has a cost. That's not my math. That's the industry standard. So now you have an $800 million cost. Now Disney gets just 50% of ticket sales, in some cases as high as 60, but let's just use 50. That means they need to make $1.6 million just to break even. If they get 75% of ticket sales, it's still well over $1 billion just to break even on Black Captain America that nobody cares about or wants, right? Now, again, the role exists. It's not like they race swapped Captain America. Okay, maybe they couldn't afford Chris Evans anymore. I don't know. You see this article, it's no surprise Disney stock crashed below $100. Here's why. Disney's stock should be on a roll right now. Last month, it signed a deal with the local government in Orlando, paving the way for its 5th theme park at Walt Disney World as part of a $60 billion investment plan. Instead of having a magic touch on its stock price, it fell below $100 for the first time since February. The reasons behind this are quite simple. Theme parks are the engine behind Disney's profits. Its 6 resorts are grouped under its experiences division, which accounted for a majority of its $13 billion in operating income last year. It was far from a flash in the pan, as Disney's latest results show that over 3 months to the end of March this year, experiences generated $2.3 billion of operating income, which was almost 3 times more than the amount made by any other division of sports and or entertainment. It stands in stark contrast to the Disney Plus streaming platform, which has burned up more than $11 billion in operating losses since it was launched in 2019, and it isn't even forecast to make profit till the end of this year. In an attempt to capitalize on the success of the theme parks, Disney announced in September in 2023 it would invest $60 billion in experiences division over the next decade. It's widely reported that this would be directed at the theme parks, but close reading of the filings revealed that it will only get a half of the total, with a difference spent on Disney's cruise line, as well as maintenance and technology upgrades. Nevertheless, $30 billion is an investment in theme parks is still around 60 times the sum spent on Disneyland Paris last year, as we revealed. When the investment was announced on September 19th last year, Disney stock closed down 3.6% at $81. It was one of the worst performances in blue chip Dow. It wasn't a one-off. So you see here, the doors to the Epic universe haven't swung open yet, but Universal has already got the green light to expand it. They're all saying on the face of it, it seems hard to understand why Disney's investment in most profitable division has not been met with approval by shareholders. However, on closer inspection, it soon became clear why it's not necessarily a dream ticket. Developing a top flight theme park attraction isn't for the faint-hearted. It's common for construction crews to encompass hundreds of workers and for costs to come more than $100 million, and it isn't for the sake of it. The wizards who design Disney's rides are known as Imagineers. Yeah, well, we know about that. But it perhaps explains why Disney's increasingly introducing queue-cutting passes, which can be used to be free, which used to be free, come at a guest cost to guests. This gives specific rides as revenue streams, all sorts of stuff. Queue-cutting passes aren't available for everybody. There's no doubt the attractions have the potential to boost attendance, but people are running out of money. That's inflation is kind of a thing. There's the long-term payback for this kind of investment. You see, ultimately, people only have so much. You see here, studios get about 50% of the box office from theaters, so it was a risky move for Disney to go up against some of its biggest clients and all this kind of stuff. I mean, Disney is not in a great place. Talking at the Moffett-Nathanson Media and Communication Summit, it revealed that the impact of intellectual property has on the return it makes from attractions. Interestingly enough, if you analyze carefully how we achieve these returns, they go on to talk about IP. I guess that's not really the biggest part of it. Let's look at this. Disney inflation. How about that? How about we look at that? Ticket prices have gone up 10%. That's not too bad. However, food and drink prices have gone bananas. Food and drink prices have gone bananas in the park. You can see this is from an article 2 weeks ago. Disney's World's prices increases dramatically outpace inflation. Overall, they found that prices for some popular Disney World food items increased by an average of 61% since 2014, while the inflation rate was just 32%. That's a lot. I don't know if I would refer to a 32% inflation rate as anything small. You know, it's never been more expensive. The worst offender is bread. The bread service at Sanaa or whatever, Disney's Animal Kingdom, in 2014, the bread cost $9.99, which is already a ton for bread. It's now $22 for bread. I mean, why do you think all of these things are changing? You know, Disney's theaters are not going to do well. I have absolutely zero interest in seeing this movie talking about Captain America. I'm the audience member that they lost. Their stories are stale, forced in the idea of character development. When someone stops acting pissy and starts telling dry humor, I will not come back for this movie. How often did Splash Mountain? I mean, what a mess Disney is. Now, will it go down still? Will it continue to go down? I don't know. You see, obviously, this is in the wake of Disney executives' bombshell claim that the company doesn't want to hire white men, prompts call for a civil rights probe. Maybe that's part of the reason the stock's going down, and the media is racing out there to pretend that it's just a complex bunch of factors. Maybe a bunch of old white guys who had a bunch of money in Disney don't want to give them money. And who could blame them? Who could blame them? Now, rides do break at Disney, but it's pretty funny to me that their $150 million woke ride flops and is constantly broken down. It's funny to me that the company continues to, people keep taking their kids to Disney. I read an article the other day that said some enormous percentage of people were taking on literal credit card debt to take their families to Disney. Please, families, take your kids somewhere where the executives of that company don't hate you for your skin color. It's just a suggestion. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, please do subscribe or follow down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.